So in this video, I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different besides Nintendo per se. Now this can pertain to Nintendo, but what I'm going to be talking about in this video is going to be physical versus digital distribution when it comes to buying your games. Do you like buying physical media or do you like going the digital download way? Now, I am going to be talking about whether I am physical or whether I'm digital, and I'm also going to be talking about the benefits of physical media versus digital distribution. Now, I know this thing can get heated between people. A lot of people are set a certain way, and that's the way they're going, and it irks them when people say they're all digital or they're physical. But I'm going to be talking about what I like. Now, I must say, still in 2017, I do believe as a whole, most people are still buying their games physical, as in they're buying the actual physical copy of a game. I know a lot of people are still doing it, and to be fair, as a whole, the world has not grown to like digital. Like, digital is not mainstream enough yet to where we can really be buying our stuff digitally as a whole. I mean, most people. Now, if you are on the PC side, such as using sites as Steam or GAO or Origin, you are 100% digital when it comes to PC gaming, and most people just learn to deal with it when they're on the PC side. Now, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and give you the benefits and cons and pros of being physical versus digital. Now, let me start off with physical media here. Now, when it comes to games and buying games physical, there's a lot of reasons you'd want to buy a game physical versus buying a game digital. One reason you would want to buy a game physical is because it pretty much guarantees that you're going to be owning the game pretty much forever, unless the game breaks or something happens to the game or you sell it off or something. You're pretty much guaranteed to be owning the game forever. But with digital distribution, you're pretty much never guaranteed to hold the license. If they remove it from the store or the store shuts down and your system breaks, you can be totally out of luck forever and you may never be able to get that game again. Of course, you can just buy the physical copy, but then you kind of just wasted money on the digital copy. You having to buy a second copy of the game physically, which wastes a lot of money. And it's just nice to know in the future, 10, 20, 30 years in the future, if your system, or you can even get a system to just pop in the whatever media it's using, and you are covered pretty much, and you know that your media is not going to fail. Now, I have heard from the internet about the whole disc rot, and no matter what you do with physical media, you're pretty much never guaranteed to own it forever, just due to the fact that physical media does wear out over time no matter what you do with it, even if you take care of it. But I guarantee you're going to have the physical copy longer than you're going to have the digital copy of something, just because you're never guaranteed. What I'm hoping in the future is companies get more wiser, at least on the console aspect or the handheld aspect, to where you're guaranteed the copy forever. They keep the stores up, or somehow if they move on to like a next gen, like the PS5, PS6, Xbox One, Xbox 2, or whatever they call the next Xbox, Xbox Scorpio, that you are going to be guaranteed that you can re-download every game that you previously downloaded on a last gen system. They'll have a way to look your ID up or your username up, and you'll be able to keep the game forever, hopefully. Now, if you're a PC user or a computer gamer, then you're pretty much guaranteed to keep the game forever, because I know sites like GAO, Origin, Steam, they're really, really nice about you building a new PC, and if things go haywire, most likely you can just re-download the game. So it's not as, you don't really have to worry as much when you are buying a game on the PC compared to a home console or to a handheld device. You're pretty much, your license is not going to go anywhere, and you can just re-download it. But there have been cases, even on PC gaming, where the license has been revoked from the company or from the game maker, and there's just no way you can get the game back. I heard one game on 360, I do believe, Scott Pilgrim Against the World or something like that, actually had some licensing issues, and people who bought the game could never get the game again. They just took it off the store, and you were just completely out of luck on that game. So there is some risk involved when buying digital media, but I assume as years go on and people get more used to buying digital media, that it just becomes much more easier, and more companies are going to be more lenient and linear. They're just going to be more forgiving in the future about how you own the game, and you'll be able to keep it longer when digital media becomes more of a standard throughout time. It'll just become more of a standard, and companies will just be more generous when it comes to distributing it, and they won't take down stores. And when technology progresses in the future, you'll be able to re-download your stuff and stuff. But right now, it just seems a little bit. You have to be careful with digital distribution. Another reason you would want to own physical media over digital media, kind of obvious, but if you're not aware, is that you can always resell it, or if you have multiple systems in your house, you can share it with multiple systems. Say, for instance, you have kids or siblings, you can give one game out and you don't have to buy multiple copies, whereas if you have a digital copy of a game, you have to buy multiple for each device. Hopefully in the future as well, game sharing will become a thing, and if you own one, you can have like a family account, and then you could share your one digital copy with a lot of different users. Now, I'm not sure if Xbox One or PS4 actually have these features. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. I do own an Xbox One, but even so, I'm not 100% sure about sharing digital games at the moment. So if you ever get tired of a game, or you ever want to lend it to a friend or lend it to a family member, physical media is definitely going to be the way to go instead of digital media. Now let's talk about some downsides to physical media. Some downsides, obviously, to physical media are going to be that they take a lot of space. Yes, a small, even a round disc doesn't take a lot of space, but if you accumulate a lot, hundreds of games, then you're definitely going to have somewhere to put them, in a closet or in a garage or in the basement. Even so, if you have somewhere to put your physical collection, it still does take up space. Whereas if you didn't have that collection, then that space you used for the physical media could have been used for something else, clothing or just anything else you have. Whereas if you have a digital collection, your digital collection is going to stay on that console or that hardware, and you won't have to worry about it taking up space. Same thing goes for just damaging. Physical media can get broken, damaged, stolen, whereas digital most likely is not going to go anywhere. If your hardware is still working and everything, then your digital content is going to stay on that piece of console or hardware. Another downside I can think of digital media is the fact that digital media takes up actual space. What I mean by space is it takes up hard drive space, or it takes up chip space in whatever form that your device uses, whether it's SD cards, whether it's hard drives. It does take up space, and eventually you will run out of space and you won't be able to put any more, so you'll have to delete games, re-download them, and if the store is no longer up where you download them, then you can't re-download it if you ever run out of space and you're swapping out games digitally. But luckily, in the year that we do live in, which is 2017, it's so easy to get memory, and memory is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, so that's not really too much of an issue. If you look at the PS4 or Xbox One, you can get 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, 3 terabyte, 4 terabyte, not too expensive, and it is attainable, so you can have hundreds of games on it with no problems, really. So that's not really an issue at all when you're thinking about going digital. Space is not really too much of an issue altogether. Now, thinking of digital as well, another benefit of digital is that the convenience of just having them all on one system as well. You don't really have to swap out your media if you wanted to really play your games all in one sitting. You can just sit down, turn on your device, and you won't have to worry about switching your media and just taking up time. It's just right there, ready to go. And especially for platforms like a handheld, like a 3DS or the Nintendo Switch, where their primary focus, a lot of the focus is on the handheld, on-the-go aspect, you would kind of want it all in one device to make it simple and easy to just pick up your system and go. And in terms of like the Switch, where you have little carts you have to switch out every time you're on the go, it just makes it more convenient to actually go digital than go physical, because you really don't want to worry about those small cartridges. And plus, those small cartridges are much more easier to lose than a physical disc. Yes, they're less likely to break, but you always have the potential of losing them, putting them in your pocket, so it's much more easier to go digital on handhelds or hybrid devices. Now, what I'm going to talk about to end off this video is I'm going to actually talk about, am I a physical type of person or I am a digital type of person? Now, honestly, I will say it does vary for me when in terms of physical or digital. In terms of my Xbox One or PS4, I am still 100% a physical type of person on Xbox One and PS4. Because on Xbox One and PS4, I don't really see a reason to go digital. Yes, there is convenience of it all, but I just would rather go physical just because the convenience of selling the game or trading the game off for money when I'm done with the game makes it really convenient for me in the long run. I know I can get my money back. That's why I go physical on those platforms. Plus, I like the feature of the new gens where you have to, when you put in the disc, you have to install it on the hard drive, so it's not really playing from the hard drive. That is one benefit of digital distribution on some systems like the Wii U, that when you put in the disc, it automatically has to load it every time you're playing it, so it's wear and tear on the system if you're using physical media. But like systems such as I think even back to the Xbox 360, they had an option when you put in the disc, you can actually save the full game to your hard drive, so it would actually run from the hard drive when you put in your physical disc, so that would be less wear and tear on your system. One thing I did not like about the Wii U is when you put in your physical media, you had to play it from the disc itself, and it sped up every time, so that was just more wear and tear on your system. Load times would be longer, obviously, compared to playing it on like a solid state drive or a hard drive. Now, when it comes to my Nintendo consoles, honestly, I have been digital, believe it or not, since the Wii U and 3DS era. I have strictly been a digital type of person. I have never have really bought any games for my 3DS or Wii U. In the first when I first got my 3DS, I was really a physical person. But then I was like, well, what's really the point of buying physical media when this thing is a handheld? There's really no reason for me to buy physical because it's just kind of annoying buying these little cards and having to switch them in and out. So that's when I realized I went to digital. Yes, Nintendo has always been a little bit sketchy when it comes to the Wii U and 3DS. When your system breaks, you may not be getting those games back just because those games you buy digitally are tied to the system. They're not actually tied to your account. So that was always a little bit sketchy, but I was willing to take the risk on my Wii U and 3DS. But luckily with the Switch, Nintendo is really just embracing digital a lot more, and all your games are going to be tied to your account, which we already know, which is a great thing. And with the Switch being a hybrid console, which is a console at home and it can be a portable on the go or anywhere you take it, I definitely am going digital with my Switch just due to the fact that it's a hybrid console. When I want to pick the thing up, I'll have all the games into it. Luckily, one thing Nintendo did do right with both their 3DS, Wii U, and all their hardware pretty much that has digital distribution, they never went proprietary memory. I'm looking at you, somebody. We know who I'm talking about, guys. I'm talking about Sony. When the PSP and the PS Vita came out, they were using their proprietary memory. And you know how expensive proprietary memory on the PS Vita and PSP were. It was worse on the PlayStation Vita, but on the PSP, it was just really, really expensive on the Vita to go all digital. I think like a 64 gig memory card was like, what, $100 and some dollars? It was just really, really, really expensive to go digital on Sony platforms. Luckily, Nintendo realized this, and they went the standard micro SD on both their 3DS and their Nintendo Switch. So Nintendo really gets that some people want to go digital and they don't want to break the bank, so they're not making their own proprietary memory for their consoles. That's one thing I really do like about Nintendo. Yes, it may surprise all of you guys, and a lot of you guys may be cringing that I go digital on my Nintendo platforms, but I've been doing this since Wii U and 3DS, and I honestly, truly do love it. But honestly, coming from a person that's physical on Xbox One and PS4, honestly, I say do whatever you like. If you like owning all your physical stuff, there is upsides to that, and there is upsides to digital. There's downsides to digital, and there's downsides to physical. Do whatever best suits you. As long as you're gaming and you're happy and you're enjoying the way you consume your content, I respect that 100%. It's nice to see how everyone's choosing their different ways, whether you're a physical person or whether you're a digital person. One thing I will say before I end the video, which I forgot to mention too, for a lot of people it will vary from game to game, and I can understand that as well. I can see for like some consoles, like a big multiplayer game, you would want to go digital on it just because most likely you're not going to get rid of it, and you're going to be putting a lot of hours into the game to where you won't want to actually take it out of the system. You want it in the system at all times. But I can see other games that are single player games, you may only beat one single time, and then you may want to trade it or just sell it or get rid of it, and you're not sitting down playing it multiple times after you beat it that one time. I can see it varying from game to game. Like on Nintendo platforms, a couple games you would want to go digital on and not even think about physical is Mario Kart, Splatoon, Minecraft, just those type of games. But big single player games like Zelda, Mario, things like that, you may only want to go physical and then sell them off because there's no reason to replay them after that. You're a one and done type guy when it comes, or one and done type person when it comes to single player content. I can very well see that. So it's just nice to know some people are physical and some people are digital, and some people are half physical, half digital, or it varies from game to game. And sometimes you end up buying digital games even though you're not a digital person, just due to the fact that they have some sales on like the actual they have sales on the actual store on the actual hardware, and you got it for cheap on the hardware, but you weren't planning to. Same thing with physical. You may be a digital type of person, but once a store does a really good sale on a game, you may say, well, I'm a digital person, but this thing is just a really great deal right now. I'm going to pick up the physical cartridge. And for instances, there have been instances in gaming to where sometimes companies will only release a digital version of a game, and then they'll say, well, the physical copy's coming at a later date, and you may not want to wait months and months and months, or weeks and weeks and weeks until the actual physical copy comes out to the market, and you may just be too hungry to play the game, and I can understand that too. Or it may be the opposite way. Maybe a physical copy only comes and no digital copy comes, and you can't wait any longer to play the game. You just want to play it as soon as possible, so that may alter what type of media you buy a certain game, just due to the fact that both physical and digital did not come out at the same time. Honestly, these are just my thoughts on physical versus digital media. Anyway, guys, peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out, guys.